My presentation is the weaving together of my life's two most auspicious passions, which is cooking and slam and performance poetry. Like the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, I believe this is true for food, as it takes a community to create quality, sustainable, and wholesome meals. This also applies to the arts, as it takes an audience to appreciate the thoughtfulness and time and talent that goes into any craft. So what is a slam poem? A slam poem is a condensed, powerfully impassioned monologue. The rules are usually as follows. Slam poems must be 3 minutes or less, with usually a 10-second grace period if you go over. No props, no costumes, no music. It is just you, your voice, and your poem up on stage. And it's almost always judged by volunteers from the audience. A performance poem has a broader definition, and it's not restricted like a slam poem. Performance poems are often not competitive, and they have a larger window of time for you to perform, and you can almost always have music, props, people up on stage with you. So tonight I'd like to share 2 slam poems with you. One I will share now, and one a little bit later in this presentation. The first poem is called Conch to Conch. There is a small, wise ocean in my conch. I can hear its waves crashing against the creases and pieces of sand, pushing coast to coast, conch to conch. A river trickles out of me, brackish like the Caspian Sea, never-ending meridian line, circles back, overlaps, laps against the shore, pools in my lap, until my ocean is replenished. And my conch once again sounds of waves beckoning, crescent crest of melon moon slice, sweet with salty small wise ocean to wash it down with one strong gulp. In my opinion, the effort that goes into the process of creating anything is where all the learning, glory, and splendor come from. The final outcome of that effort is your reward that keeps you moving forward, creating and evolving, onward and upward. The merging of poetry and cooking comes through the way they are both born of a process, a very special process, a type of alchemy, wherein you take raw elements such as words and ideas or veggies and meat and combine them together in just such a fashion where they perfectly integrate to create something that is golden, something that they were never before. It is a process of transformation through the labor of love. With cooking, you do this through the exchange of flavors between ingredients. The correlation of flavor with spice and herb coupled with how you prepare and heat the products together works to create your magical meal. As food is our best medicine, meals can heal. It has been my experience that the best cooks are the ones who feel it, the ones who go with their intuition and their gut instinct, the ones who have recipe cards that read in quantities of handfuls, dashes, pinches, or splashes. And I would also argue that this is true for any life skill or craft. The more time you spend with your intuition, the more well-rounded your work and effort becomes. Poetry is heady and a little less tactile than cooking, but it's also done on instinct and gut reaction. From the positioning of words and phrases, writing is an act of decision-making, as is cooking. The biggest difference is that you have all the time you need to make decisions when writing, but when you're cooking, you have a very limited time restriction. I'd like to share my second poem tonight. It's called Circular Circles. I have been floored, backdoored by the backhand of disillusion. My head has contusions, my mind has a concussion, my brain is like a canned mushroom, full of gray matter and gray tissue and gray rubbery rubbish, useless knowledge I can't get enough of. If I turned a new leaf every time I turned a corner, I'd be back where I started, just a little bit older. I keep talking and talking in circles, but that's okay, because I'm backtracking to the right path, to more and more answers that must be asked, even when there's no conclusions, only head contusions and disillusions driving me around and around, up the walls and spiraling down, till I end up where I was last found, in a back alley, recently backhanded by the confounding, convoluted profoundness of all that is around us. Now, to compare and contrast Both cooking and writing call for problem-solving skills. As you develop a story or poem, you must find creative solutions on how to work out the details, characters, and create a clear and accessible idea or point to your piece. Problem-solving is also a large part of cooking as well, especially if you find yourself cooking in a food truck or food cart where you do not have the same access to space and product as you do in a brick-and-mortar restaurant or even a regular home kitchen. Cooking and poetry differ in many ways, and it is their differences that make them compatible as life passions. For me, one offers what the other does not. Cooking offers speed and the opportunity to react on instinct, and it deals with the senses of taste, smell, and feel. Whereas poetry deals with the auditory and emotional senses. Creating poetry begs for your long-term extended attention. Its development comes slowly over time, weeks, maybe years, where cooking's development happens within a few minutes to a few hours. Writing takes mulling over and working on and doing and redoing, whereas cooking is a one-shot deal. If you mess it up, there's no redo. It has become a total loss, and you must start over. Whereas writing is set in print and can last for all of human history, a meal is that one-shot deal, and you will only ever have the memory to savor. So it is these differences that make all the difference in having two life passions that allow me to exercise all of my senses, my emotions, my physical and mental strengths. The two combine seamlessly to create the solid structure for my life. For it could best be described as poetry is cooking with words, and cooking is the poetry of flavor.